losing his command a little bit. Maybe, AJ, we spoke a little bit too soon because in the first inning, Sheehan looked like he could deal with anybody. But in this inning, towards the last two batters, the command has not been there.
You talk to any pitching coach, and the thing that gives them the most gray hair is leadoff walks and two-out walks. And right, his second two-out walk of the inning.
And there it is, another walk for Sheehan, his second of the day, both coming in this inning alone. And when you give a team extra outs, you're playing with danger. See, wait, there's something odd about that.
Sometimes numbers can be deceiving, and we've talked a lot about this this year. And Bristol, their offensive numbers have been towards the bottom half of the league, but so far they've buoyed a little bit, and the pitching, while it started off hot, kind of cooled down a little bit. So they've their numbers overall as a team are just right in that middle, maybe the 3, 4, 5. Those roles in the league. Numbers can be deceiving, and for Nashua, maybe it's errors, it could be walks, hit by pitches. So they're going to score in any way, shape, or form. So Bristol has to be.
One thing I'm noticing from Emmett Sheehan is the arm side fastball really missing towards that side of the plate. And we haven't seen a breaking ball yet. They've all been on fastballs. 3-1. And he walks his third consecutive batter. And after that walk, that's going to force Jordy Shiner to go out and talk with his young righty.
Chris, we've talked about it all year long, and you actually read my mind when you said that arm side fastball missing away, and you want to almost reach out and grab that dollar.
Gorham and then Regan. He gets the out right there. At the end of 1.5, 1-0 is your score. Blues are up over Nashua. You're watching the Bristol Blues right here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Bottom of the second, 1-0 is your score. Bristol Blues are up over the Nashua Silver Knights. Blues will have 7, 8, 9. Hunt, Bauman, and Haig if any of them get on.
This is Palillo all the way from San Diego, California. Meanwhile, Sheehan right down the road here, Darien, Connecticut, about an hour's drive. So a little bit of different situations for these two starting pitchers, Chris, wouldn't you say?
One from Connecticut, the other one from California. It's about as far as I think you can get in terms of getting talent.
I wonder who's a better surfer.
That's a good question. I mean, Sheehan looks like he's a surfer with
the
long hair.
You're right. You're very right. He's got the that sunshine from Remember the Titans look with the flowing blonde hair.
Sunshine. And Ethan Hunt works a 4-pitch walk. He classically will sprint down. If he's hit by a pitch or he's walked, he's going to get down there one way or another. But just to end the point on Sheehan, I think you look at the body, and I think there's a lot of talent in terms of what he's going to be, a freshman at Boston College. Palillo, the same thing. A lot of arm speed. The breaking stuff on both has been questionable, but it looks like Palillo might have maybe a little bit of a better breaking ball tonight. But as I say that, he balks. Home plate umpire called it. Looks like he pulled the trigger on his right leg. He came to a stop and then went again. And when you do that, you balk. And that allows Hunt to get to second base. So now for the second consecutive inning, the Bristol Blues will have a runner reach on first, and then either an error or now a balk has put that Blues runner to now second.
And you saw there Palillo, he came set, and then a bit of an awkward situation. He jumped forward, and it looked like he was braking and stopped short. And the home plate umpire was all over it and awards Hunt second base on the balk. Second straight game for Bristol with a balk. So we'll see if Alex Bauman, the catcher, can take advantage.
Bauman, 237, 5 RBIs, but 2 doubles on the season. He's batting 8th for the Blues. 1-0. Attempted the bump but then pulled back, but called a strike on the outer half of the plate. 1-1. Infield playing back except for the third baseman Blandini, who was playing on the grass. We have seen Bauman bunt from time to time, and he actually has been able to execute it once to perfection earlier in the season. 1-1 up the middle. One bounce to Morset, has only one play at first, but a productive out for Bauman, who now advances Hunt to third base. So the Blues have a runner in scoring position, ever so close, with their 9-hitter, Andrew Haig, at the plate.
Interested to see what Polillo does here. 2 innings in a row where he's given up a leadoff man, either a base hit or a walk, but then his defense failed him a little bit with the error in the first, and then he himself balking Hunt to second base. So the youngster who just finished high school, yet to make a college appearance, facing mostly college competition. We'll see if he can overcome the adversity here. Only gave up 1 in the first, could have blown up into a big inning.
Fought off by Haig, liner right to the right fielder Gorham, who kind of had to reach out and was able to get it in and not allow Hunt to be able to score, as maybe it was hit a little bit too hard. If it was more in the air and Gorham wasn't coming in and charging and his momentum wasn't bringing him towards home plate on the throw, maybe Hunt has a better chance to be able to score on that play.
Yeah, I think that's the right call there from Hunt to bluff. Tough play to run on there. And as you said, Chris, hit almost a little bit too hard and a little bit too shallow for Hunt to get a good enough read. Hunt, some of the better wheels on this team, but Andrew Gorham was able to track that down and make the play, and momentum bringing him towards home plate. I think it would have been a bang-bang play at the least. Probably would have been out.
And Osberg fights that off to left center. Going back is Biddison, and just had to reach over. Didn't play it precisely. Went in, and then that ball started to cut with a left-handed hitter, especially when it's hit off the end of the bat. It's going to have that kind of two-seam movement going away, and you saw that slicing from the left fielder Biddison, but reaching back to make a big catch. Otherwise, there could have been at least a second run scored for the Blues. But at the end of 2, 1-0 is your score. Bristol Blues are up over the Nashua Silver Knights. You're watching the Bristol Blues right here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Top of the 3rd, 1-0 is your score. Sheehan working on the top of the order. Biddison, Costello, and Morse. If any of them get on LaBelle. Blues had a chance to score in the bottom of the 2nd with a runner on 3rd, 2 down and Hunt. And Osberg put a good piece, but a nice play by Biddison was able to save Nashua from being down 2-0 as he cuts at and misses on a high fastball from Sheehan. Biddison, his last time up, flew out to the shortstop as the sun really starts to come down near the trees. Now there isn't any sort of sun blaring down on the field. You saw Sheehan throw that a curveball high, and has not been able to throw a curveball for a strike yet.
Has not been able to yank that off-speed pitch down. And a lot of pitching coaches use the analogy of shutting the curtain. You want to reach out over and drop that curtain down almost as if you're reaching out, grabbing a curtain, and pulling it down. But Sheehan so far just leaving everything up, and he hasn't been able to locate that off-speed pitch. And as we're coming around second time through the order for this Nashua lineup, that could be dangerous if he's just laying fastballs in.
The 3-2, fastball low. That's going to be a leadoff walk. And as you mentioned in the bottom of the second, where a leadoff walk and two-out walks are dangerous. And right there, you saw another walk for Sheehan, his third in as many innings. And one thing I noticed right there is that he is throwing from the first base side. So the fact that he's missing so much inside to righties, backdoor to lefties, it's a little bit appalling to say the least. Costello's up. He flew out back in the first. Looks at a first pitch fastball, outer half of the plate, 0-1. But this is all adjustments for Sheehan being able to start. He only has one other start on the season. So this is a good testament for being able to kind of learn a little bit on the run. Fastball, same spot, but a little bit more away, 1-1, about kind of what he's going to see at Boston College, because you're going to see the best of the best.
And what's a little bit perplexing from Sheehan, you saw in his warm-up pitches, he's just peppering the strike zone exactly where you want those pitches to be, around the knees, nothing high, nothing out over the plate. But when these Nashua batters step in, as he gets the benefit of the call right there, he's just, maybe it's his emotions, he's got some adrenaline, as you said, Chris, making his second start of the season. So maybe he's just not able to channel that emotion so far.
1-2 fouled up the third baseline. Still will be 1-2 the count. But I think you're right, AJ. You look at, this is his first start in Bristol. So there's a big crowd here tonight, probably the most that I've seen thus far, maybe kind of countering the home opener. But you kind of feed off that, and this Blues crowd is just waiting for something. Costello calls time, kind of fixing off his eye, maybe got a bug in there. He steps back in, umpire waits, pauses at Sheehan, and we're back. 1-2 to Costello. He takes it up the middle. Nolan had to wait back, makes a nice play for the second out. Read that ball perfectly off the bat.
Always some solid defense out there in center field from Nolan. And those line drives hit right at outfielders. Those always seem to be the toughest plays to make, as they can be a little bit deceiving, whether they're going over your head or whether they might be dropping in early. But Nolan there doing the right thing, stopping, getting his bearings, and charging, able to make that play. What looked like off the bat could be a base hit.
Sheehan's going to have to try to find the ability to throw the breaking stuff, the curveball or the changeup, because you're starting to see better swings now second time through. Fastball high, 1-0. And I get that it's only been a couple batters, but you can tell right there from Costello, took a nice cut, just missed it. And the rest of this lineup now has seen Sheehan once and now going towards their second time here in the top of the third. 1-0 inside, 1-1. Morissette, the shortstop, came in with a .419 average and 5 RBIs on the season.
Morissette, a strikeout victim in his first at bat.
1-1 in the infield. Calling it off as Osberg makes the play in front of second base. 2 down. That will bring up the big righty Jake LaBelle. 455, 10 RBIs, 3 strikeouts, now 4 on the season. This is a big guy right here facing Sheehan now for the second time. Sheehan got him on a fastball outer half of the plate for a strikeout. Let's see what he does right here in the second time. Got the fastball driven to center. No one's going to have to go back, as that's going to go all the way towards the wall. Nevert's going to round the runner at third. That's going to be Biddison. He will score. And a RBI double for LaBelle, and we're tied up 1-1.
Sheehan challenging LaBelle, first pitch fastball, and you got to think that these Silver Knights hitters in the dugout were talking, hey, he can't locate his off-speed stuff. All I've seen is fastballs. And for LaBelle, the 6'5" junior out of NYIT. The cleanup man was sitting dead red fastball and just squared that one up. Absolute bomb off the bat of the first baseman.
And another fastball that misses against Berardino, 1-0, with LaBelle on at second. Biddison was the one that scored. We're tied up 1-1. Inside on the hands, Berardino going back his Hague to shallow right, makes the catch for the third and final out. But the Nashua Silver Knights tie the game on a LaBelle double. We're heading to the bottom of the third. Chris Saunders and AJ Fabry bringing you the live coverage here from Muzzy Field. Bristol Blues versus the Nashua Silver Knights. You're watching the Bristol Blues right here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. And 1-1 on an RBI double from LaBelle. And I think, AJ, that round, the first round went to Sheehan as he struck out LaBelle on a fastball away. Second round goes to LaBelle.
Yeah, first pitch fastball, LaBelle sitting all over that pitch. And if that wasn't hit to the deepest part of the field out in left center, I think that one might have gotten out of here. An absolute smoke shot from LaBelle, but good job from Sheehan to limit the damage with another man on scoring position to get out of the inning.
Chopper to Morset's not going to have a play. And that's going to allow Lamparco to be on at first. And that's a tough play for the shortstop. Morset had to charge in. It was off the hands of Lamparco and kind of took a couple weird turns to the left and to the right. And Morset maybe might have had a chance if he barehanded it, but with the speed of Lamparco, you're better off just eating it.
Yeah, I don't think so. You saw Morset bobbling that one, and even if he fielded that one cleanly, I don't know if he would have had a play. That was about an 18 hopper, and it didn't even reach the infield dirt. So we've seen Lamparco doing that a couple times as that one gets away from Caparis.
Lamparco's going to be on at second.
And again, the wheels of Lamparco, he's so dynamic and not the most physically intimidating guy, but he was the CCC Conference Player of the Year for Western New England for a reason, and I think you're seeing those reasons right now. Is able to get on base as a leadoff guy and cause some damage out there, getting to second base on a wild pitch. And if you're Winkle here, your job is simple. Just hit it to the right side and get the fastest guy on your team in scoring position.
1-0 to Winkle. He drives it into right. Going back is Gorham. That's going to be off the wall, and that's going to score Lamparco. Winkle's going to get to second standing up, and that's going to be an RBI double for Winkle. And, man, that ball was crushed.
Absolutely clubbed another fastball, and these young pitchers, they're going to have to learn. They have to throw their off-speed stuff for strikes, or else these hitters are going to jump all over them. And Winkle, we've seen the ability. He's able to rip one into right field, and the catcher DHing tonight, headed to UConn next year, showing some power early on in his tenure as a Bristol Blue.
First pitch to Brereton outside for a ball, 1-0. Brereton worked a 4-pitch walk back in the first. AJ, I'm not going to lie to you. I kind of wish that Winkle and LaBelle were both here during the home run derby. Because I feel like they would have hit some moonshots.
You're right.
Out of this stadium.
If you remember, I believe it was the first week of the season, the only time that these two teams met back here at Muzzy Field, no runs through 10 innings of play. and a new FCBL rule instituted, home run derby to determine it. And it was Connor Nolan, the hero, who, how many did he have? I think it was 6 total home runs in that home run derby situation. So Bristol able to get the 1-0 win out of the home run derby.
And just like in the first, Brereton up with a 3-0 count here in the third. 2-1's your score. Winkle with both runs via the RBI. 3-0 to Brereton. A gifted strike right there. 3-1. 2 runs on 4 hits for the Blues. 1 run on 1 hit and 1 error for Nashua. Bonficini on deck. Connor Nolan in the hole. The 3-1 from the righty. That's going to be high. And Brereton is 0 for 0 on the day with 2 walks. Bonficini up at the plate, struck out back in the first, was ahead in the count, and actually was hit by a pitch. But because he did make an attempt to move out, it was a ball, got the count full to 3-2, and then struck out on a breaking ball.
See if Bonficini, expecting fastball here, is Palio has lost the zone a little bit, so he's going to have to be sitting dead red on something over the plate.
Brereton on at first, Winkle at second. The 1-0 to Bonficini, low 2-0. And we've seen a consistent strike zone from both sides. And you can see the arm talent from Boston College that they're going to be getting. I mean, you got to remember, they did have a kid drafted in the first round a couple years ago. Dunn actually was drafted by the Mets. And Boston College actually made it pretty far as Bonficini cuts at and misses on a fastball away. I think they lost to Miami, was it? I don't remember exactly. I do know they played against Miami. And they had some first-round talents on that team in and of itself.
Now, that kid from Boston College, Dunn, he was a Connecticut kid, if I'm not mistaken.
He went to the gunnery.
From Greenwich, I believe, correct?
Ball slicing into foul territory and left. Morissette attempted to make a play, but just out of his reach. It will be 2-2. Nice attempt by the shortstop. But going back to what you were saying, AJ, he went to the gunnery. I don't know if he's from Connecticut exactly, but I do know he went to the gunnery. And I know that they're trying to make him into a starting pitcher. He played 1 year. He was in the bullpen for the first 3 years with Boston College. He was in the rotation in the 4th year, and that's when he really showed his ability with the fastball and the breaking stuff. Two to the lefty, high, run the count full on Bonficini. Connor Nolan on deck, Ethan Hunt in the hole. Mason Pelio, the 3-2. Ball 4, bases loaded.
Good patience there from Bonficini. Palio, the youngster, struggling to find the zone right now, not giving in, and doing some research here. Chris, you were exactly right. Justin Dunn from Freeport, New York, and you're right, he did attend the gunnery. And, of course, attending Boston College. Drafted by the Mets, currently on the Brooklyn Cyclones.
And it looks to be that we will have a pitching change here at Muzzy Field. We will get the number, the name, and the stat line for Pelio when we come back. 2-1's your score, but the Blues are threatening with runners at first, second, and third. You're watching the Bristol Blues right here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Pelio's night is done here at Muzzy Field. 2 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 runs, both of them earned, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts, 14 batters faced, and he gives away to the new righty.
That righty is number 26, Spencer Langdon, out of Westlake, Texas. Just finished up his sophomore year at Tufts. The righty 1-2 with a 4.05 ERA in 5 games. 3 of those games have been relief appearances. 13 1/3 inning pitched with 9 strikeouts and 11 hits. Most recent outing, June 22nd, a week to the day, he came in against the North Shore Navigators, and he earned the victory with 3 innings pitched. Did not give up a run or a hit in 3 innings. So the righty from Texas coming in a big jam here. Bases loaded with Connor Nolan at the plate.
Nolan flew out back in the first. First pitch, outside, called a strike, 0-1. And Langdon, his first pitch looked to be a changeup. Kind of has the mini Craig Kimbrell, except take away the hawk, but has the arm dangle. Gets the sign, pitches from the first base side of the rubber. Tall stance closed, the 0-1. Nolan past the shortstop into center field. Scoring is Winkle. Coming around and scoring is Breerton. Make it now 4-1. Bristol Blues are up and still have runners in scoring position, first and second.
Nolan not wasting any time. And Chris, we've been doing this for a couple weeks now, and I don't think I've heard Muzzy Field as loud as it's been tonight. Friday night, great weather. Most of the schools are finally out of session, and the Bristol Blues giving their fans something to cheer about here with a 3-1 lead early, still just in the 3rd inning with 2 men on and nobody out.
And when Ethan Hunt, who was able to work a walk but was stranded in the 3rd, or rather at 3rd back in the 2nd. Breaking ball, attacking his Hunt. It's in the air to left. Biddison, center fielder Costello calls it off. First out recorded here in the bottom of the 3rd. Runners do not advance.
Hunt, an aggressive player all around, and you can see right there, just a little bit over-eager to get in on the action. See his buddies out there, RBIs all across the board. Just a little bit over-eager there. Was way out in front on a Langdon off-speed pitch.
Bauman grounded out back in the 2nd. First pitch, in for a strike, 0-1. And no run, or rather no score is safe because we know that Nashua can score runs. They have scored 5+ runs in 3 of their past 4 games. Bauman calls time, and Langdon was attempting to deliver the ball but decided to stop. Bonficini on at 2nd. Nolan on at 1st. The 1-0. In the dirt, 1-1.
Silver Knights averaging 4.4 runs per game. So they're going to have to go over their average tonight if they want to get the victory. But a bit of an offensive explosion as we saw in that rain delay.
Ball gets away from Caparis. Runners will advance to 1 base, and second wild pitch for Nashua and as many batters.
And as I was saying, in that rain-shortened game on Wednesday, the Bristol Bats, they did come alive late in the game. So in the last 6 innings, 8 runs scored so far for Bristol, and Alex Bauman could add to that total right now. And we've said all year, Chris, the offense really just hasn't been able to come up with that big hit in that big situation, and they haven't been able to string it together a couple rallies, but they're doing just that so far this week. Could be a bit of the turning of the tide here for this offense.
2-1, Bauman fights it off, but that's going to slice foul towards the right field line, 2-2. And we talk about AJ, the shutdown inning. Sheehan had that for a time. And same thing with Pelio, but wasn't able to hold down after his team was able to tie the game in the top of the third. 2-2. Breaking ball in the dirt. Nice job by the catcher for Nashua. Gliding to the right-hand side, his arm side, to be able to keep that ball in front. But now it's a full count, 3-2.
Bauman with 5 RBI on the season. And with the speed of Nolan at second, you think a base hit could bump that total up to 7.
Payoff pitch. Chopper. And gets away from Regan as it looked like a tough play. A 3-hopper to the second baseman. Bonficini's going to score. Nolan's going to stay on at third. Blues will have runners on the corner. And I would say that's going to be another error for Nashua. Will go as an unearned run. But now it's 5-1. The Bristol Blues are up.
Yeah, you said it, Chris. A 3-hopper to Regan over there at second. And a bit of a tough hop on that last bounce. But if you're Regan, what you have to do there is square up to the ball and get your chest squarely in front of it. So if there's any bad hops, anything like that, you could take one maybe off the pec or the shoulder to knock that one down, keep it in the infield. But Regan could not do that.
And Haig attacks again. Ball's going to be driven into right. Catch is made by Gorham. Runner tagging and scoring is Nolan. 6-1, the Bristol Blues over Nashua. But Haig showing that opposite field power, and Gorham, if he didn't make the correct turn, that could have easily have gone over his head, and you might have a situation of second and third. But instead, 2 down for Nashua, but I think the Blues will trade a run for an out anytime.
Good situational hitting there from Haig, and in his first at-bat, he had a man on third and lined out to right field. Bit of a tough break, hit the ball hard into right field, into the outfield where you want to as a batter. So it's some bad luck as the runner could not tag up and score, but Haig getting some redemption there with a long fly ball, and Nolan able to scamper home for the 6th run for Bristol.
And if Osberg can find a way to get on, we will have batted around as the inning started off with Lamparco. One 0 to Osberg. He drives it into right center. That's going to drop in for a base hit. Bauman's going to tag second. He's going to get to third. Ball cut off by Morissette. And now runners on the corners. 2 down, and the Bristol Blues have batted around. And whatever you do, do not touch Lamparco or Ian Osberg. They are on fire.
Smoking hot, and especially at the top of your order. That's huge to have those guys getting on base and making all these pitchers work. And for the Blues, just this inning, 4 hits, including a walk and an error and a sac fly. So a productive inning so far for Bristol.
And Osberg makes an attempt to go to second. He's going to get there in time. And Caparis is not pleased. And I don't know if it's with his infielder or his pitcher, or maybe just the fact that his team's given up 5 runs in the bottom of the third.
Yeah, I think Langdon there not paying too much attention to Osberg, and Caparis no shot at throwing out Osberg.
1-0, make it 1-1. That gives Ian Osberg 13 stolen bases on the season, and we're getting around that time, AJ, where the All-Star game is going to happen, and I think Osberg, he's making a pretty strong case to make the All-Star team. 1-1 to Lamparco. Swung out into right. Gorham. Easy can of corn. Side retire, but the Bristol Blues score 5. 6-1 your score. We're going to keep it right here and maybe go over a little bit of the potential All-Stars for the Bristol Blues.
Well, of course, you got Rich Brereton, second in the FCBL in batting average, and after his slump in the middling weeks, he's really picked things up. You got to think his versatility has earned his way onto the All-Star squad, and you said it, Chris. Ian Osberg's been a do-it-all man for Bristol so far. 5th in the league in batting average, 5th in the league in on-base percentage. I don't think you can think of a better leadoff man in the league so far, so I think he's definitely a candidate. And after scoring in the first inning, he adds to his run total this season. That puts him at 20, and that's good for best in the league. So I think he's definitely a candidate for the all-star situation. But Chris, what about you? Who do you think has a chance to be on that ballot?
Definitely Osberg is going to be there. I think McDermott will go there as well, just because he's the Mariano Rivera of the Bristol Blues.
What is it, 8 saves now for McDermott?
He's 8 for 8 in saves. He's Mariano McDermott. That's what he is.
I don't know if that rolls off the tongue quite as well as Rivera. And I
okay,
don't know.
Neil Rivera then. How about that? Does that sound better?
I think we just gotta cut him. Well, we got time. We got time to think. It's not the All-Star break yet, so I think we got time to think of a competent nickname for McDermott.
No, I will say, if we have an opportunity to go to the All-Star game, both you and myself, I am curious to see if maybe Justin Henry Malloy and if Winkle can continue on doing this, maybe they find a way to get into that home run derby. I don't know if it's only for players who can get into the All-Star game, but if it's like it is for Major League Baseball, there's some guys who make the home run derby that aren't in the All-Star game.
But, I mean, if you look at the home run numbers, the only one with any decent home run numbers so far on this Bristol lineup is Alex Leparco. So the little fella, the third baseman, maybe getting his own shot to show off his power at the home run derby.
6, 7, 8, Blandini, Gorham, and Regan. If any of them get on, Caparis. Rinaldi walked and then reached on third and being left stranded. He swings at the first pitch but fouls it back. 0-1. And like AJ and I have talked about since the first game of the season against the Pittsfield Suns, shutdown innings. Been a big bugaboo for the Bristol Blues, where they can score a bunch when they've been capable of doing that, but being able to shut down a team. And right here, Sheehan attacking, both pitches fouled back by Blandini. It's a good sign for the righty. The 0-2 coming. Changeup just goes foul. And that's, I mean, I saw Sheehan throw a couple breaking balls in for a strike during warm-ups, and then that's the first changeup that I've seen. And maybe, just maybe, that will allow, with the 6-1 lead, kind of calm down Sheehan a tad.
Yeah, you got to make adjustments. I mean, off-speed pitch, not there. Curveball, not there.
0-2 fastball away, 1-2.
So sometimes your put-out pitch, you might have to rely on that third pitch, and that changeup has been effective. And with Sheehan's velocity, if you take, a couple miles per hour off that fastball, but it's deceptive and it comes in and it fools that hitter, you can get a lot of soft contact and a lot of outs on that changeup. So we'll see what Sheehan does here to go to his secondary pitch.
Sheehan gets the sign. The 1-2. Curveball high. Flicks it. 2-2. And it's weird because, AJ, you made the point back in the second how he was throwing strikes and then he ran into a little bit of trouble with walks. But right there, he's throwing curveballs for strikes in warm-ups, but then again, has not been able to throw it for a strike in a game. 2-2 to the left side. Nice actions by Osberg. Sets, fires. 1 down.
Osberg so smooth anywhere you put him. He's been at second. He's been at short. And you see why he's so smooth out there in the field. And you can talk about the arm strength. You can talk about the range. But right there for Osberg, it was all about the footwork. Well hit from Blandini, but Osberg able to position himself to make the play look routine, where in reality sometimes that's a backhand play, and the chances of you fielding and throwing an accurate throw over to first base when you're on that backhand, they dip a little bit. It becomes a bit of a tougher play, but Osberg, fleet of foot, able to corral that ball easily and fire over to get the first out of the inning. And that's something to a young pitcher like Sheehan. If you throw that ball away and you get a leadoff guy on, you can become a little bit unraveled here, as we see Sheehan struggling with command yet again. Another walk. But Osberg making that play, able to shut any type of rally down here. And now after a 4-pitch walk, he's still got one out. A ground ball could get you out of this inning.
Regan was able to reach on first base back in the second. 1-out walk given to Gorham. First pitch, foul back, 0-1. And I think the bigger adjustment's going to be for Sheehan is how long does it take him to get back into that groove where he can find the strike zone again? Typically for young pitchers, that's the biggest adjustment because it typically will be about maybe 2-3 innings before they find it again. Whereas in games like these, you have to find it within the next batter. And he's still a young kid. 0-1 changeup low and away, 1-1. Has yet to be able to throw a strike called by the umpire with the curveball or his changeup.
And it's tough if you're Ronnie Palmer in the dugout, you're Jordy Shiner. I mean,
nice spot, 1-2.
Obviously, the problem is, hey, we got a 6-1 lead here. Just go out there and throw strikes. Well, okay, that was probably the game plan from the get-go if you're Emmett Sheehan. So it's talking things over with Shiner, going through mechanically what needs to change.
1-2 swung at and missed by Regan. Bauman throws it to second on a prayer. An attempt, though, by Bauman, unsuccessful, but I like the effort from the catcher. Gorham will get to second, but Regan strikes out what looked to have been on the changeup. So now Nashua will have a runner in scoring position, but 2 down. That gives Sheehan his 3rd strikeout of the day.
And if you're Sheehan here, you got to be thinking aggressive attack mode against Caparis, who came up in a big spot in the second inning with a couple men on, 2 outs, and swung right at a first pitch fastball and just nubbed it right back to Sheehan. But there you see, maybe getting a little bit too cute, going off speed, and again, missing high. Bauman having to come out of his crouch to field that one. So Sheehan not snapping off that off-speed pitch and has been unable to hit the strike zone. As you see there, off-speed misses, but Bauman a little bit of a nod of encouragement because that time down in the zone, a little bit closer to the strike zone. So trying to figure things out and making the adjustment on the bump.
2-0, high fastball. Chasing was the 9-hitter Caparis. 2-1, and that could have been a potential 3-0 pitch, but instead it's 2-1.
And I think that's very telling there. Caparis' mindset looks a little bit overmatched. And if you're Sheehan here, I think you just bear down and pump your fastball in there.
Another curveball, and that one did not look comfortable from the minute that left the hand of Sheehan. It looks to be on the breaking ball particularly. Now seeing him throwing that pitch consistently, he's rushing his body. And when you're throwing a curveball, you have to keep your mechanics back and make sure that arm is going through the proper slot. Give this strike from Bauman right there, and the framework being able to steal a strike. And I think Bauman deserves a lot more credit. He really helps guide these young pitchers.
Big pitch here from Sheehan. Full count, 2 outs. Trying to get out of this jam.
Payoff pitch. Fastball low. Didn't get the strike call. And honestly, I think Sheehan, even to his credit, was not around the strike zone. Probably didn't deserve it. So now there'll be runners on first and second. Gorham on at second. Caparis on first. And we're back up to the top with Nick Biddison, who flew out to the shortstop back in the first and then walked and came around to score on a double by the number 4 hitter, Jake LaBelle.
And this is the danger zone here for Sheehan. 3rd time through the order now. And you saw after that last off-speed pitch that missed up, Sheehan kind of gave a let's cut it, kind of signaling to his neck, saying, I got nothing when it comes to the curveball. So if you're a Nashua hitter, you're sitting fastball and adjusting to the changeup.
And if you're Sheehan right here, it's definitely something to be apparent to where if you don't have your curveball and you're telling Bauman, I don't have it, maybe even throw that changeup a little bit more. Right now, a 1-1 count, you would think that Biddison's looking fastball. Drop the changeup outer half. Curveball again high, and except for one curveball, like you said, AJ, which was on the outer half of the plate. Everything has been high, so he's just missing on snapping, or rather bringing down that pitch. 2-1 count, high, 3-1. And to put a ribbon, too, on this conversation with the curveball with Sheehan, as Bauman's going out to talk with the righty. Typically with a curveball, you don't want to try to curve a breaking ball. You want to try to spin it. And I think that's where a lot of young pitchers, they try to curve it so much, and that's when you have the over-amped of where Sheehan's kind of missing high. When you try to spin the breaking ball, that creates more of the height and depth that you need with that pitch.
I think something that's underrated and underutilized when you're talking about throwing off-speed pitches is the wrist action. Everyone talks about, okay, the elbow, but if you can really snap that off-speed pitch off at the wrist, it's going to give it that crisper bite. And in Sheehan's case right now, I think it's a mental thing. I think he doesn't have any confidence in that off-speed as he goes back to the fastball, and that misses inside. So Sheehan walking the bases loaded, not a lot of confidence in the curveball right now, so a little bit of action now in the Bristol bullpen as you see Jordy Shiner is going to come out and talk to Sheehan, and he's going to take his time on his way out to the mound, and I think that's possibly to let the guys in the bullpen get a little bit closer to getting ready in case things break down here for Sheehan.
This is the second time that Sheehan has walked the bases loaded. He did that back in the second inning, and he's done it right here in the fourth. And what's odd is that he's walked the bases loaded both times with 2 outs. So it's not like it's been the first batter where he's shown glimpses of wildness. He's been able to have the ability to get strikeouts or get that key out. Now, he got that back in the second on Caparis, who grounded out on a fastball in that was weakly hit. So you kind of ponder to yourself, if you're Sheehan, do you have enough tricks? Up 6-1 with Costello, 362 average, 8 RBIs. This is probably one of the biggest outs right here in the game.
Yeah, this is a huge at bat, and looks like it's Mark Silvestri down there in the Bristol pen getting loose.
First pitch, inside, good start for Sheehan.
That's huge, and if there were ever a time where Sheehan could find that one curveball, it would be in this at bat to get out of a bases loaded jam.
0-1 fastball in, 0-2, and you're 100% right, AJ. I don't think Costello or even Morset, if it gets to that, are even looking breaking ball. Even LaBelle too. They're all looking dead red.
We'll see what Sheehan goes to here. Is a little bit hamstrung here. We talked about the curveball. It's seemingly not an option, but can't 100% rule it out here. An interesting pitch selection here for Sheehan.
0-2. Chopper, it's going to be a tough play for Osber. Comes in, makes a nice throw on the run, gets the out at first.
Huge.
And that is a huge, huge play for the Bristol Blues, being able to escape another bases-loaded jam. And Sheehan, I don't know if he's a magician or a pitcher, because he's finding tricks to be able to escape the damage. We're heading to the bottom of the fourth. 6-1 your score. Bristol Blues up over the Nashua Silver Knights. You're watching the Bristol Blues right here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Emmett Sheehan working himself into jams and then out of jams, both in the second and the fourth. And somehow the Blues able to escape the damage. 6-1 your score. They're up by 5. We will have 3-4-5 Winkle, Brereton, Bonficini. First pitch to Winkle. High, 1-0. Winkle has 2 of the 6 runs via RBIs for the Blues.
Winkle DHing tonight. Have to wonder, maybe that plays into the solid hitting night as he pops this one up.
Going back is the shortstop Morissette, pardon me. But instead, Biddison, as the center fielder Costello was charging in, Biddison called him off. 1 down for Nashua here in the 4th. And AJ, what have you seen from Winkle? And I understand that the plate appearances, there isn't a lot, and we've seen one good, one bad, but just watching him in general, kind of a little bit with the Blues, what have you seen from the lefty?
Well, I mean, what you see is what you get from Winkle. I mean, he's what, 6'3", 6'4", and coming out of high school, I mean, if you didn't know that he was a high school player about to be a freshman, I think I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between him and any of the other guys on the field right now. I just think physically he's ready to play college ball, and I think the Yankees thought that too. I thought they thought he was ready for professional ball, but I mean, just his stature up there at the plate, the sweet, nice, smooth lefty swing, and as you see, Brereton grounds one to short.
Morissette on the run, nice play by the shortstop, 2 down. And you mentioned, some of the bodies. I know you talked about the likes of Winkle because he's 6'4", basically 210, and he's going to get bigger and stronger. And the Yankees wanted him, and obviously he's going to keep his commitment and go to UConn. And speaking of UConn, Bonficini at the plate, who just finished his freshman year at UConn. There was another player who was supposed to be on the Blues, Ryder Green. His first at bat, rather his first game with the Gulf Coast League in low A ball. Swung out to the right side, and that's going to stay fair and up the right field line. Bonficini kind of stumbles for a step, rather, and instead of attempting to go to second, takes it safe and will stay on at first with 2 down. But to put a ribbon on a bow, Ryder Green hit a home run in his first game as a New York Yankee in the minor leagues. What if, AJ? What if?
I know, Chris, you and I were kicking ourselves because with Justin Henry Malloy, the Vanderbilt commit, I mean, we were stoked to see him play for a full summer, and Pat Winkle also another draft pick. Just to see these guys, right now as youngsters, and you never know. And the rest of these young, talented players in the FCBL, you never know where they can go. But man, there's just something you knew about Ryder Green after he was taken so early, and clearly the payoff's coming. And his first professional game, a home run. So, the baseball fan in me is a little disappointed I didn't get to see him play live here at Muzzy Field. But best of luck to Ryder in his career.
Off-speed pitch low, 1-1. If you've been tuning in since the beginning of the game, throw back to first. Gets away from LaBelle. Bonficini's going to get to second with ease. Second baseman Regan had a charge after that ball because the right fielder Gorham was playing way behind in case of the pull power for Nolan. So an error by the pitcher Langdon will allow Bonficini to get to second base. And if you're just tuning in or you've been watching since first pitch, we'd like to thank you for tuning in and spending a part of your Friday night with both myself, Chris Saunders, and AJ Fabry between the Bristol Blues and the Nashua Silver Knights. And we got a score update at the end of 4. Yankees are up 5-0 over the Red Sox.
For our, I'm sure there's a lot of Nashua fans watching this one who, in that New England area, they can't be too pleased about that one, but we will admit.
To the right side, Regan, nice actions, hesitates, waits a second for LaBelle to be able to get to first and cover, and the side is retired. Bonficini is stranded on at second base. At the end of 4 full innings, 6-1's your score. Blues are up by 5. Running to the top of the 5th. You're watching the Bristol Blues right here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel from historic Muzzy Field. Top of the fifth, 6-1 is your score. Bristol Blues are up over Nashua. We will have 3, 4, 5. Morissette, LaBelle, and Berardino. And we were mentioning a little about how Nashua is probably not too pleased about the Yankee score, but here's a fun fact. P.J. Neverett, the manager for the Nashua Silver Knights, his brother is the radio voice of the Boston Red Sox.
Respect the biz.
Morissette struck out in the first and flew out back in the third. First pitch. Inside. Must have been high. 1-0, and there is bullpen action still for the Blues. Silvestri is warming up. 1-0. Off the bat, foul. 1-1. And I'm a little bit surprised that Sheehan is back on the mound only because of how many pitches he's thrown in the bouts of wildness that he's had. You would think that you want to pull him after getting out of that jam. 1-1 changeup. 1-2.
Ronnie Palmer showing some confidence in his youngster, but third time through the order, and we've talked about Sheehan struggling to throw his curveball for a strike. We'll see if that comes into play here, but, I mean, you got to give credit.
Finds a hole between the first baseman and second. That's going to be a hit for the Nashua Silver Knights. Their second, and that's coming here in the top of the fifth off the bat of Morissette.
You've got to give Sheehan credit so far, and not his best stuff as you see Ronnie Palmer. It looks like he's going to make the move. I was going to say I think Sheehan's going to have a short leash here. So Palmer going to make the move to the bullpen, and we talked about Sheehan struggling with his command of the off-speed pitch all night. But he really gutted this performance out as he'll be taken out of the ball game. It looks like it's going to be Mark Silvestri coming into the ball game. And in relief as Emmett Sheehan gets a big hand for the Muzzy faithful.
And I think that's an applause that he definitely deserves because he was able to grit and grind and fight through some of those tough innings. For a young pitcher who's going to be a freshman in the fall, you would think that it's a learning curve for him. But we're going to get some notes. We're going to figure out the stat line for Sheehan and the numbers for Silvestri. So make sure you tune in and stay right here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel because we'll be right back. The stat line for Emmett Sheehan, 4 innings plus pitched, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 of them earned. This is a tad scary. 7 walks, 3 strikeouts, 21 batters faced. It's a lot of walks, though, for the righty, but somehow only gave up 1 run. I think that shows the kind of pitchability that Sheehan can have, but you can't do that every outing. And Silvestri, his first pitch, cut at and missed, and LaBelle lost the grip of the bat, and we've seen that happen quite a few times this year. This is not the first time. We just hope everyone's okay.
scary here in Muzzy. I mean, you said it, Chris. Second time I believe that's happened where the bat's gone flying into the Bristol dugout. So
Someone get the pine tar.
yeah, you see LaBelle clamoring for the pine tar, and thankfully, I think everybody's okay in the Bristol dugout as LaBelle swinging out of his shoes on the first pitch there, but a strike nonetheless for Bristol. And give you some of Silvestri's number. He's the junior out of Livingston, New Jersey, member of the Rhode Island Rams. In 10 appearances so far this season, he's 1-1 with a 5.65 ERA.
0-1, and a big cut by LaBelle, and on the backswing it hit Bauman in the head, and LaBelle is just trying to do anything he can to take out the Bristol Blues. First with the bat and missing it and flinging it into the dugout, and then hitting Bauman in the back of the head.
I mean, LaBelle, he's done enough damage, hasn't he, with the double in the third, with the RBI double, booming shot into left center. But the big fella doing some damage here in the fifth.
0-2 coming from Silvestri. Cut at and missed. And then Bauman tags, or I don't even know if he so much tagged him, but LaBelle was getting in the way of Bauman. And now LaBelle is giving a conversation or talking back with the home plate umpire. And now the home plate umpire is staring him down as he goes into the dugout.
That's the strangest three-pitch at bat I think I've seen in my life. But a strikeout and a big one for Silvestri to come in and get the first out of the inning, especially off cleanup hitter LaBelle, who came in with that booming double in the third. So a good start here for Silvestri.
Morissette still on first base because of the strikeout, cannot advance, not taking much of a lead. Silvestri holding 1-0. Nice job by Bauman. 2-0.
Silvestri's last appearance came in that loss, the shortened loss on Wednesday against the Bravehearts. But a good outing for him.
2-0. Liner right to Osberg. And a double play. As Morissette was he was rather going on contact. And because of that, the liner went to Osberg. An easy double play for the Bristol Blues. And what started out hopeful for Nashua ends up being for naught. We're heading to the bottom of the fifth. 6-1 your score. Bristol Blues are up over the Nashua Silver Knights. You're watching the Bristol Blues right here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel from historic Muzzy Field. Bottom of the fifth, a double play by the Bristol Blues. Doesn't help Nashua, but it does if you're a Blues fan. We're in the bottom of the fifth. We will have 7, 8, 9, Ethan Hunt, Bauman, Andrew Haig. If any of them get on, Osberg. We do have a new pitcher on the mound for Nashua. It is Jared Norcross Plord. First pitch low to Ethan Hunt, 1-0.
Plord, the freshman out of the University of Hartford, making his 5th appearance of the season. So far, a 7.71 ERA and 4 2/3 innings pitched.
Ethan Hunt looks at 3-0. Flew out back in the third and reached base back in the second. Four straight pitches, and Ethan Hunt sprinting down to first. Second time he's been able to get on via the walk. Walked in the second, and now in the fifth. And that's going to bring up Bauman, who grounded out back in the second inning, then reached base in the third, but was left stranded. Bauman batting from a very up straight stance. First pitch fastball high, 1-0. Couple scores to go around the FCBL. Brockton's up 2-1 over the Martha's Vineyard Sharks. Worcester is up 4-2 against the Pittsfield Suns. 1-0. Nips the outer half, 1-1. Plord coming to the set at the belt. 1-1. Hunt's going. Throw to second. Not in time. Ethan Hunt's going to get a stolen base. Second one for the Blues in this game. First one came off of Osberg. And now the second, Ethan Hunt.
Good jump there by the Canadian. Plord falling asleep a little bit long to the plate. Hunt in there safely. You see his speed definitely a factor so far in this one as he's reached base twice via the walk. Forced a balk in the second, so definitely leaving his mark on this game. And just looking at some numbers here, Hunt came into this one just hitting .269, so batting average creeping up there steadily, but we've talked, and his .371 on base percentage is one of the better averages on this team. So Hunt's not the guy who's going to smack the ball over an outfielder's head or crush a lot of extra base hits, but he's going to get on base, whether it be hit by pitch or a base on ball. And you see right there, his ability to swipe a bag and score some runs is huge for this Bristol offense.
We've seen 12 walks, AJ, in this game thus far.
Very sloppy pitching. I mean, I feel like during this whole broadcast, we were kind of all over Sheehan, just talking about how he could not throw his all speed for a strike. But then you look up at the scoreboard, just 2 hits given up by the righty. So, I mean, when you look at the box score, it's so far.
It's a lot of walks.
A lot of walks, but it hasn't affected or it hasn't come back to bite the Blues yet. Still got a lot of baseball to play.
First pitch to Haig, attempts to bump, but pulls the bat back, 1-0. And prior to that pitch, you could see the sun, or rather not the sun, but the sky being picture perfect at about 8:42 here in Bristol, Connecticut. Plord setting the glove up high. Low 2-0. Now we've seen, or rather, I don't know if you picked this up, AJ. He's come to set on 2 different spots. One being closer to his belt, and then that one being more upright towards his chest. Right where his shoulder blade would start. 2-0 to the 9-hitter. 3-0. And Haig, not known for being able to chase pitches. We saw he swung at the first pitch in his last at-bat and drove it to right. and Gorham had to kind of reach back and do a 360 turn to be able to get it. But that RBI sac fly did score a run and put the Blues up 6-1. 3-0 pitch. Haig kind of backing away before that pitch was even thrown. He knew it was a ball. And bases full of Blues and nobody out. We're back up to the top with the hot-hitting Ian Osberg. And if you have the bases loaded, you want to have Osberg and Leparco and even Winkle at the top.
Frustrating for Nashua. I mean, every time you go out, when you're going out to take the field, you always think, all right, who do we got? 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8. And in Nashua's case, it was 7, 8, 9. So they're thinking, all right, I'm going to go out there, throw strikes, and, this will be a clean inning. But just not able to find the zone, walking the bases loaded, flipping it to your most dangerous guys in this order, Osberg, Leparco, and Winkle.
Osberg drives it into center. Costello's going to have to keep going back. He's not going to find it. It gets over his head. Scoring is Ethan Hunt. Palmer is going to tell Bauman to stay on at third. Bases will still be loaded, but an RBI for Osberg. And off the bat, it didn't look like Costello saw that ball, probably lost it in the lights. 7-1, Bristol Blues over Nashua.
And that was a long single from Ian Osberg. You normally think if you hit the ball over the head of the center fielder, you're probably going to get 2, and with Osberg's wheels, maybe even more. But a bit of an awkward play there as center fielder Jeff Costello looked like he might have been able to make a play, so the runners had to hold and make sure that that ball wasn't caught, just allowing Hunt, the only one to come around to score there. But bases still loaded, nobody out for Bristol.
0-1 to Leparco. Might have a chance to stay fair. It's going to be Regan and LaBelle. Ends up being Regan off his glove, and it's going to stay fair. Throw came into first. Leparco running all the way just in case. And that's going to go down as another error for Nashua. A sloppy day in terms of pitching and hitting for the Nashua Silver Knights. And the Blues still have the bases loaded. Make it now 8-1. Scoring on that play was Bauman. And now Winkle comes up with the bases loaded, and the power that he showed back in the third that gave the Blues at the time another run to semi-set themselves up for 5 runs in that bottom of the third. Not going to lie to you, AJ, I'm kind of looking forward to this at bat.
See what Winkle can do here. Takes a fastball inside, and Nashua really just shooting themselves in the foot here. 3 walks to start the inning, and a ball off the bat of Osberg that really was catchable, but Costello playing very shallow in center field, unable to make the play, and then an error, allowing another run to score. And just like that, it's 8-1, and the Blues on their way to running away with this one.
Does that surprise you that Costello was playing so shallow with Osberg at the plate, who has shown power, at least gap-to-gap power?
I mean, sometimes you see that as Winkle takes outside. Sometimes you see that from outfielders who have confidence in their speed and their ability to track balls down. But I mean, I think if Costello's playing regular depth, that's just a routine a routine fly ball. So Nashua out of position there, and it came back to bite them big time.
3-0 to Winkle, out of the strike zone completely. 4 straight balls. Plord not happy. That's going to force Caparis to go out and talk with his pitcher. Haig's going to tag home. 9-1. And as I said before in the last 2 batters, bases are still loaded. That's going to force P.J. Neverett to make a pitching change. And AJ, compared to the game that we saw last when Nashua came here and they kept it scoreless all the way towards the home run derby, this is not the same Nashua team.
You have to wonder if that long layoff has affected Nashua, and I think it certainly has. I mean, they haven't played since Tuesday after a big win over the top place team, the top team in the FCBL in Martha's Vineyard, and a couple days off, maybe a little bit of a loss of focus, but unable to get to record an out in this 5th inning, and a bit of a hangover from a couple days off is now Nashua will turn to the righty Aiden Welch out of Millersville University to get them out of this bases loaded, nobody out jam.
And we're going to get a stat line on the previous pitcher who threw, and we come back. Let's see what the Bristol Blues can do with the bases loaded. You're watching the Bristol Blues on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Richard Brereton at the plate. And on the mound for Nashua will be Alden Welch from Millersville University, a sophomore. And he's from Philadelphia. And he's come in with a treacherous situation with the bases loaded. Nobody out. 9-1, the Blues are up. First pitch to Brereton, low, 1-0. And we've been saying that a lot tonight on both sides, but Nashua in particular.
When you put yourself in that hole, these Blues hitters, they smell blood, and they're sitting dead red on fastball with the bases loaded. A huge RBI opportunity for Brereton.
1-0 to Brereton. Nips will look to have been maybe the outer black of the plate, 1-1. And we're only 2 batters away from potentially batting around for the second time. Blues did that back in the 3rd, and it's safe to say that there's probably a better than 50% chance it could happen again unless something like a triple play occurs. Chopper, that's what Nashua needs. Regan only has 1 play. Strong throw over to LaBelle. They get the out at first, but the Blues trade a run for an out. Scoring on the play was Osberg, and runners do advance. Laparco will get to 3rd. Winkle to 2nd. But Brereton will get a RBI ground out. 10-1, your score. Blues are up.
Good situational hitting there from Brereton. Little nubber off the end of the bat gets the job done. And in these types of situations, you're not looking for the devastating blow. You're just looking to pass the baton, and that's exactly what Brereton did. Nobody out. Take what the pitcher gives you. Now Bonvicini's turn.
Bonvicini is not an easy out by any means. He has a very good eye, does not swing at too many pitches that are outside the strike zone. So if you're Welch, you're really going to have to earn this out, at least against the left-hander. With Nolan on deck. 2-seamer in, kind of brush back Bonvicini, 2-0.
Welch, his 7th appearance of the season. No decisions so far, but a stellar 3.17 ERA with a save to his credit. So certainly the man to put out some fires for Nashua.
2-0 low, 3-0. Try to get you a score update on the Red Sox and the Yankees. Martha's Vineyard is up over Brockton 4-2. Worcester is up 6-2 over the Pittsfield Suns. 3-0. Nips, outer half, 3-1.
5-1 Yanks leading in the bottom of the 6th in the Bronx.
Is CeCe still on the mound? Or did they go to the bullpen?
Believe they went to the pen.
3-1 pitch coming. Gifted strike. Full count. There is 1 base open. That's first. But this is the kind of crowd here at Muzzy Field that people have been waiting for, and I think that's something that the Blues have been able to get the energy going, and I think that contributes to this 10-1 score. Payoff pitch coming. Outside, way out. That's going to put Bonficini on at first. With Nolan at the plate with a chance to be able to drive in a couple runs here and really leave his mark. First pitch to Nolan, breaking ball, drops it in for a strike. Nolan, 1 for 3 on the day. Came around to score back in the third, flew out in the first, grounded out back in the fourth. And if he gets on, the Blues will bat it around. 0-1 to the lefty. Drops another breaking ball. 0-2. Can't command his fastball, so you know what? Let's drop a couple breaking balls. See what could happen.
So far it's worked, and you see Nolan a little bit frustrated coming in there expecting to see a fastball right down the pipe, but a couple off-speed pitches, and he's quickly in the hole. 0-2.
0-2. He drives it into center. Costello's going to have to go back a tad, makes the catch. Runner tagging. Leparco will score. Ball was cut off by LaBelle. Make it 11-1. Winkle will stay at second. Bonficini on first. But now the Blues have batted around. Ethan Hunt will get another at-bat. He's the one that started it off, walked, and came around to score.
And as great as this is for Bristol and their offense, batting around twice in this game, this is, I don't know about you, Chris, this is killing me in my scorebook. I mean, I'm all messed up, and I don't know. I think I'm going to run out of room. I don't know what to do.
I mean, my book looks like a crayon from 4th grade. Everything's colored in and cross-outs and all that. 0-1 to Hunt. Fights it off outside. 0-2. And just going back to that Connor Nolan at bat, if you're at the plate, AJ, are you looking for breaking balls the first 2 pitches? Because I'm not.
Absolutely not, especially, reliever coming in, bases loaded situation. Your main objective is to get ahead in the count, but you got to credit Nolan there. Down in the count 0-2. Put a good swing on the ball and able to drive in a run.
Hunts swings it out to right, but Gorman plays it on the line, makes the catch for the third and final out, but the Blues get 5. They've scored 5 in the third and 5 here in the bottom of the 5th. 5s. If you're a gambler and you like to play cards, got yourself a 15 and you're going to play against the house.
Legal gambling.
Legal gambling, yes. We're all about legal gambling here. 11-1 your score. We're heading to the top of the 6th. Bristol Blues up over Nashua. You're watching the Bristol Blues right here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel.
Back here at Muzzy Field, some FCBL action. Bristol Blues playing host to the Nashua Silver Knights, and the Blues have blown this one wide open with a pair of 5-run innings. First in the third, and then just most recently in the fifth to take a commanding 11-1 lead as Mark Silvestri, in on his second inning of relief, deals a strike to third baseman Tom Blandini. Silvestri misses outside. So for the Blues, 11 runs on 8 hits. And Chris, I know you'll appreciate this. No errors for Bristol so far. Meanwhile, for Nashua, 1 run on 2 hits and 4 errors as Blandini sends one into right field, and that'll get by Brereton in right and roll past as Blandini will walk into second, and you'll score that one a base hit and an error on the right fielder. And we saw Brereton earlier in this game made a fantastic diving play in right field, but that one right there, not so much, Chris.
Brereton looks to be a little bit uncomfortable in the outfield. We saw, we saw him miss a play against the Sharks when he was playing left on almost the same exact design, a one-hopper that he kind of gets in that quinky dink of, am I going to go after, am I going to stay back? And maybe he's a little bit more comfortable in the infield.
Silvestri deals a ball to right fielder Andrew Gorham.
And it's not easy to play the outfield because you have to make a split-second decision. If I'm going to go after that ball, am I going to charge it or am I going to let it come to me? But thankfully, the Blues are up 11-1, so
not the worst thing in the world for
No.
Brereton. But you bring up a good point as Silvestri misses up and away again.
you did jinx the Blues because you did say no errors, and so you did the broadcasting curse, so thank you.
The curse of the commentator.
Thank you.
What can I say? But
It's all your fault.
But Brereton, he doesn't have those built-in outfielder instincts as you would expect a guy like Nolan or even Hunt in left field, maybe a guy like Dylan Reynolds to have. They've been playing outfield their whole lives, but like you said, outfield, not an easy position to play, and Brereton, just a couple of mishaps so far in both lefts and center, and now this time right as Gorham works a walk, so the first 2 men aboard here for Nashua.
And that's got to frustrate the manager, Ronnie Palmer, for the Bristol Blues. You're up 11-1. Your team puts up 5 runs in the third and the fifth. You cannot walk batters. You have to attack these guys. Let them, force them to hit the ball. I remember back in the day where teams would find pitchers if they would walk guys, depending on the count, if they were up, how many outs. But it's the only way to make the pitchers learn that, okay, attack the zone.
Silvestri deals low, his 5th straight ball, and pinch hitter up for Nashua, number 3, Tyler Littlefield. Freshman out of the University of Houston with a .237 average with 1 home run and 3 RBI. Fouls that one back, 1-1. One of the better crowds here at Muzzy Field tonight is officially summer. I know it started a week ago, but first Friday, kids out of school, and a good showing here from the Bristol faithful. Silvestri deals off speed, just missed. Must have been low as you saw Bauman kind of hold that one for a second after the pitch was delivered. But that one missed low, 2-1 the count.
And so far, no bullpen action for the Blues. With a lead like this, you would anticipate maybe Silvestri throwing a fastball here, letting Littlefield just make contact.
That pitch misses outside, so Silvestri a little frustrated with himself on the mound. 1 pitch away of walking the bases loaded. Runners going. Bauman throws to third. Ball is dropped from Laparco. So Blandini is in there with a stolen base, as Silvestri falling asleep a little bit there, not checking on Blandini. A valiant effort from Bauman to shoot out the base stealer. But Leparco not able to hold on. It looked like it would have been a bang-bang play, but the ball broke free.
And teams in a situation like this, you're down as many as 10 runs, and you have runners on first and third, and it looks to be that Bauman's going to force the entire infield to go out and talk. And then Bauman says, you know what, never mind, forget it. I changed my mind. I don't want to do it.
Not sure what was said at that meeting, but
I think Palmer told Bauman to go out and talk to him about something. I guess Bauman didn't, and he said, go back out. And the umpire said, no. You're not going to do that. I'm going to come out and get you, I'm going to drag you back. So Bauman said, forget it. Let's just play.
Full count here to Littlefield. Payoff pitch, swung on. Grounded to the right side. Haig fields and fires to first for the first out of the inning, as Blandini will come around to score the second run for the Silver Knights, cutting the deficit to 9 here. 11-2, Bristol leads.
And Gorman does advance to second, and Nashua is only down by 9, so they'll have to trade quite a few outs to be able to get some runs, but I don't know if they have enough outs to do it. However, if Bristol continues on allowing them to get on via the base on balls, which has been potent for both sides, you have to question, how long of a leash does Palmer have, knowing that this game could easily be reachable with Nashua, who has scored 5+ runs in 3 of their last 4 games.
First pitch to catcher Joe Caparis, a called strike. Caparis 0 for 1 on the day with a walk and a ground out. Silvestri sets and fires, misses outside to even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. 11-2 your score here. Top of the 6th. Gorham leads off second. 1 run already in for the Silver Knights. 1 away. Pitch swung on and missed. Good breaking ball there from Silvestri, as Caparis swung right over that one. And Silvestri now in the driver's seat with the count 1-2.
Yankees still up 5-1. Top of the 7, 2 outs.
Good stop there by Bauman behind the dish, able to bounce to his right and keep that ball in front of him, not allowing Gorham to advance.
$17 walks in today's game, AJ.
Called strike 3 from Silvestri. A bit of a delayed call there from the home plate umpire. But the payoff from Silvestri, the 1-2 pitch, caught the outside corner. A big strikeout for Silvestri for the second out of the inning.
Well, I think the delayed call was because the home plate umpire hasn't called somebody out looking this whole game. That's the first one.
Silvestri's first strikeout of the night, as he deals a strike to leadoff man Nick Biddison. Biddison going to be a freshman at Virginia Tech next year, as he holds up on a off-speed pitch outside. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 away here in the top of the 6th. 1 run already in for Nashua. Biddison out of the Virginia area, as Silvestri deals, grounded to the right side. Haig is there. He fields and fires for the final out of the inning. As we head to the bottom of the 6th, Nashua able to get one back, but the Blues still firmly in control as they lead 11-2 here at Muzzy Field. Some FCBL action. Chris Saunders, AJ Fabry here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. We'll be right back. back here in the bottom of the 6th. Bristol Blues set to battle be Bauman, Haig, and Osberg at the top. As Bauman takes outside. A couple of defensive changes for the Silver Knights as Littlefield comes on, takes over at second base. As Bauman takes ball 2. And at third, it's Jared Brescia. And behind the dish, taking over for Joe Caparis, is Dylan Jones out of Franklin Pierce. Welch still on in relief as he deals ball 3 to Alex Bauman. 11-2 your score here at Muzzy Field. Bristol Blues leading the Nashua Silver Knights. The Blues trying to get one back after dropping a tough one, a 5-inning loss to the Bravehearts on Wednesday as Bauman works a 4-pitch walk. His second straight walk.
And let's not forget, AJ, there's been a lot of fireworks tonight in terms of run score for the Blues. After the game, there will be actual fireworks. So make sure if you're at the Muzzy Field right now, make sure you stay here and watch the event.
Haig takes one in the back. Not too happy about that one as he'll jog it down to first. So a walk and a hit batsman. And yet again, the Bristol Blues threatening here. Top of the order due up. It's Ian Osberg, who is 3 for 4 on the evening. A standout performance by the shortstop. Pitch to Osberg, catches the outside corner for a strike. Oh, 0-1 the count. Osberg takes outside 1-1. Osberg, middle infielder out of Massachusetts, plays his college ball at Quinnipiac. Started a majority of the games for the Bobcats this season as he takes outside 2-1. Bauman off second. Haig off first. 2-1 the count. And nobody away here for the Blues, who are leading 11-2 in an offensive outburst. Something that we saw, it was in the cards in that 5-inning game against Worcester. That was obviously cut short due to the rain. It looked like Bristol was mounting a furious comeback, Chris, but the weather not cooperating. But they did score 5 runs in the final 3 innings, so definitely something to look forward to there. And then tonight, just an absolute onslaught as Osberg works a walk, and bases loaded again for Bristol as Nashua just has struggled to find the strike zone tonight.
And Andrew Roman is warming up in the bullpen, and Kyle Jackson going out to talk with his righty. Andrew Roman from Salve Regina University, sophomore from Holland, Massachusetts. And this has been a tough day, and if you're a Nashua fan, it's really only one thing. It's been the base on balls. You take away that and you force this Blues team, which, yes, they've had some at-bats where they've been able. Osberg has a couple hits. Winkle has a couple hits, one of them being a bomb. But, it's not like the Blues are just mashing left and right and swinging and crushing every pitch they're seeing. They're just showing their discipline at the plate, which, that's the testament of they came into this game 4th in walks as a team. And I would think after today, that's probably going to move up to maybe even 3rd.
And a bit of a surprising performance from Nashua is their pitching staff has really done the job so far. A collective 3.11 ERA, which is 2nd in the FCBL, and holding opponents to just a 244 batting average. So the pitching staff was not the problem coming into this one, but the strike zone clearly was, as Welch deals a strike to third baseman Alex Leparco.
Imagine if we bat around again. We might as well just throw away our book.
Yeah, I was thinking that earlier, Chris. I mean, you might as well toss it away because it's doing you no favors.
Oh,
That
hit
one.
That hit the bottom of the bat. It's saying hit the nub.
Home plate umpire ruling that the ball hit the nub of the bat, and it looked like Leparco was on his way to first, but the home plate umpire is going to convene with the field umpires. Chris, what do you think there? I mean, it did sound like it might have hit wood. Leparco, I don't know if he's going to be winning any Academy Awards soon, but
Umpire saying it was his fault. It did hit his elbow. I will say, because of the guards that they make nowadays, it does sound like when it hits the guard that it makes contact with the bat. And from up here, I thought it hit the nub, but I'll trust that Leparco, who I would assume has never lied before, said that it did hit him in the elbow guard. So now, make it 12-2.
that'll bring up Mark Tomosa, pinch hitter from UMass Lowell. So Palmer going deep into his bench, now with a 10-run lead after the hit batsman forced in a run. How about this, Chris? 1 run scored on a walk, a hit batsman, a walk, and another hit batsman. So not the prettiest of sequences for Aiden Welch.
And Tomosa is looking for his first hit of the season. 13 at-bats, 0 hits, 8 strikeouts. And be a nice time here to be able to get his first one with the Blues with the bases juiced.
Tomosa takes outside, but quickly in the hole. 1-2 the count to the infielder from UMass Lowell. 1 ball, 2 strike, nobody out. Bases loaded for Bristol here in the bottom of the 6th as Tomosa flares one into right field, and ball is dropped by Gorham. So everybody's going to be safe, only advancing 1 base as Haig comes around to score. And I think you're going to have to rule that one a base hit on the diving attempt from Gorham. Looked like it hit his glove, but popped out as the Blues add to their lead. 13-2 now the score.
And it looks to be another pinch hitter, and Cooper Moroka will be pinch hitting for Bonficini. So he'll be going into the game. More than likely, I would assume, play first. But this has been, as that ball is fouled back by Brereton, I'm not going to lie to you, AJ, this has been a house of horrors today if you're a Nashua fan. Nothing is going right, and everything is going wrong.
One of those days for Nashua, but Bristol certainly taking advantage, is dinking and dunking where they need to, and that'll bring up Rich Brereton, who watches the ball outside. Count evens, 1 ball and 1 strike.
And the credit, too, has to go to the Blues because they're not swinging at these pitches and trying to, help out Nashua by any situation. That started since the first. They've always had good eyes since the beginning of the season, and that's continued.
Brereton with a run scored on the day, back in the 3rd. 1-1 pitch, swung on up the middle, fielded by Morissette, and that ball is thrown away. So it goes from bad to worse as 2 runs come around to score on the throwing error from Morissette. The out was recorded at second, however. So a throwing error allows 2 runs to come around to score as the lead extends to 13 for Bristol, 15-2 here in the bottom of the 6th. And a pinch hitter again for Bristol, number 28, Cooper Moroka, batting in place of Matt Bonvicini. That ball got behind the catcher, but able to corral it.
So we would assume that Tomosa will stay at the DH. Moroka will go in for Bonficini on at first. And it looks like Sullivan, that is Jimmy Sullivan, he's going to be pinch hitting for Connor Nolan.
Brereton leads off first. Moroka at the plate, pinch hitting, 2-0 count. That ball just missed outside, 3-0. That ball gets away from Jones. It was ball 4 anyway, so Morocco will trot down to first and second now.
We're going to have another pitching change. And Sullivan's going to be stepping up at the plate, pinch hitting for Nolan. And he's going to be facing number 36, Andrew Roman.
So that will do it for Welch. Roman, the righty, into deal to the pinch hitter, number 23, Jimmy Sullivan, headed to UVA next year. But the Bristol Blues with a 13-run lead here in the 6th. The onslaught continues. We'll head to a break. We'll be back right here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Back here at Muzzy Field, pinch hitter for the Blues, number 23, Jimmy Sullivan. He's coming in. He'll face the new pitcher, Andrew Roman, for Nashua out of Holland, Massachusetts. So after putting up 5 in the 5th, the Blues have responded with 4 in the 6th. Still threatening here. First and second, just 1 out. The pitch swung on, fouled back. Sullivan out of Weathersfield High School will play his college ball at Virginia next year. Still looking to get things on track as a member of the Blues, but again, this one firmly in control. Brereton off second, Morocco off first here in the bottom of the 6th. Fouled back again. Roman ahead, 0-2 in the count.
AJ, I think we have a problem.
What do you got?
I ran out of space in my diamond. I can't fit Roman into the mound.
You're exactly right. You just got to go by memory, Chris.
All right, I think I could do it.
It's a battle of the will. Sullivan fouls one off his cleat in the box.
I think what's more perplexing about this game for Nashua is that they came in and they beat the Martha's Vineyard Sharks. They beat them 5-1, and I get that they had a long layoff, but and I know you mentioned it earlier, but I can't see having 4 days being this much of a problem where you just can't throw strikes. Maybe it's just an off day, but if you're PJ Neverett, you have to be at least a little bit concerned.
0-2 pitch, swung on, fouled back. Sullivan hanging tough. Roman making his 6th appearance. 0-1 with a 7.71 ERA. And, of course, we were talking about during the break, and I think some of these numbers back it up. We're seeing some inflated numbers on the pitching side so far this summer throughout the league.
A lot of walks from everybody.
0-2 way behind. I think that caught a piece, and it did as that one hit the back heel of Sullivan. So after getting ahead in the count 0-2 to Sullivan, that ball will hit the outfielder on the heel, loading the bases yet again. And that'll bring up Ethan Hunt.
Third time that the Blues have batted around.
Yeah, my scoreboard, my scorebook is it's done for at this point.
I think everybody's scorebook, if they're keeping track at home, either at their house or even if they're watching and doing it on the while they're at Muzzy Field, you might as well just play along and hope your memory can track who's going where.
Throw in the towel at this point, right?
Might as well. And we're only in the 6th.
Hunt fouls that one off the mask of Jones.
And if you're an infielder too with Nashua, with the amount of walks that have occurred, you always hear about how a lot of guys have a tendency to kind of lose their mind, like not lose their mind, but
Chris, I think you've lost your mind during this game, actually.
Probably have. But I know there was a study a couple years ago that I read that, and I'll say it after this pitch.
1-1, swung on, fouled back.
Where if you're talking to somebody, typically their attention span is going to be about 10 to 15 minutes, okay? Stay with me here. Now, if you're an infielder and you're having to pay attention during these last couple innings where the Blues scored 5, 4, 5, how long before they eventually just start to go nuts and start thinking about other things?
1-2, misses down and away, 2-2 the count. And Chris, I think you're right there. You always hear about the pace of pitchers and defensive players who say, "Oh, I love this guy. He works quick. He gets the ball. He's back on the rubber and he's throwing strikes." And when you're out there in the field playing defense for only 5, 6, 7 minutes an inning, I mean, that keeps you fresh. It keeps not only your body fresh. You don't have to stand out there, wasting energy for 20, 30-minute innings, and we've had some of those long innings, but you're ready to go mentally. You're going, okay, what am I doing on this pitch? Where if the ball's hit here, there? But right now, just everyone's slowed down and a little bit sluggish, and that definitely has an effect on your play. As Hunt grounds one to third, fielded by Blandini, and airmails LaBelle over at first. So Brereton will come around to score, and everybody's safe on what looked like a routine ground ball, airmailed by Blandini. And Chris, I think our theory there was just proven true. I think that's one of the few balls that's been put in play after numerous hit by pitches and walks. A routine ground ball becomes like a kind of a shock to the system, and you almost don't know what to do. And clearly not Blandini, who is over at third?
Prescia. I think that's how you say it, correct?
Brescia
Yes.
over there at third.
And he's a new third baseman, so it's his first actual throw that he's had to made after watching a couple hit by pitches and a walk here. So, we said it went from bad to worse. What's worse than worse?
Chris, that's just a question I do not have an answer for. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Alex Bauman takes ball 2-0 quickly.
And I've seen LaBelle now take off his glove 15 times in this half inning.
It's been a long night for the Silver Knights as Roman deals a strike, 2-1. So 3 5-run innings for the Blues. A couple of crooked numbers have put them in control as Bauman fouls that one back, 2-2 the count. 16-2 here in the bottom of the 6th. So we got a couple innings left to play as this one is well out of reach for the Silver Knights. You would need a miraculous comeback as Bauman takes low, 3-2 the count.
And the Red Sox are losing to the Yankees 7-1. Chad Green has come in relief of CeCe, 7 innings, 97 pitches. And CeCe just showing why he's one of the still elongated pitchers in the game.
Bauman rips one to second, and that one is bobbled. So everybody is safe. Another run in to score as Moroka crosses home. That's Littlefield at second now, who booted that one. So 7 errors for the Silver Knights, and it's really getting sloppy tonight in Bristol.
And what's the old saying, AJ, that the ball will find you? Well, it found the 2 positions of which you have new players for the Suns, both in Brescia and then Littlefield. Both have made errors, 7 on the day for Nashua.
That'll bring up Andrew Haig, second baseman. 6 runs in this inning alone. Bases loaded, just 1 away. The 0-1 off speed, swung on and missed. 0-2 quickly. Sullivan leading off third, Hunt off second, and now Bauman off first. A couple errors, a couple walks, a couple hit batsmen, you name it. We've got it here in this one. A 15-run lead for the Blues.
And this inning has been going on for almost 40 minutes.
9:30 here in Bristol, and still just the bottom of the 6th.
And I might be wrong. It might be like close to 50. I could be off.
The 1-2 pitch to Haig misses low and away. 2-2 the count.
And nowhere to put Haig. And back up to the top with Osberg.
Two and two the count to Haig. 1 away, off speed. Lifted into shallow right field. Gorham coming on, camped under it. Sullivan tags, but will stay put as Gorham records the 2nd out of the inning. And that'll bring up Ian Osberg. Osberg already a big night. 3 for 4, 3 runs scored, and an RBI to his name. So a huge performance from the shortstop. His 2nd at bat of the inning. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Off speed, catches the inside corner, 0-1.
It'll be his 6th at bat of the game.
Tough to tell you. I know we had to do some deep research there. Now that our score books are a little screwy. 0-1 pitch, grounded to the right side. Littlefield is there. He fields, fires, and that will do it. But a 6th-run, 6th inning here for Bristol as they are firmly in control. 17-2 the score. Bristol Blues leading the Nashua Silver Knights here on a lovely Friday night at Muzzy Field. Chris Saunders, AJ Fabry here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Stick around. We'll be right back. Back here in the 7th. Bristol with a commanding 17-2 lead over the Nashua Silver Knights as the first pitch to two-hole hitter Jeff Costello misses outside. And Chris, looking at this side of the scorebook, it's a lot prettier than the other side, wouldn't you say?
It looks a little bit less on a single by Jeff Costello. That was a nice piece to the left side for a base hit. And you look at Nashua, that in the last couple innings, not to their credit, but at least they get something started here in the top of the seventh.
That'll bring up Cody Morissette, the three-hole hitter, shortstop. Takes ball one, and Morissette made a big error that kind of led to that 6-run rally as he fielded a ground ball, stepped on second for the lead out, but then airmailed first baseman, allowing a couple runs to come around to score as he takes ball two outside. Morissette 1 for 3 on the night. A base hit back in the fifth. 2-0 pitch, misses low, 3-0. And after such a long inning like that, Chris, you got to think Silvestri is just kind of dusting off the cobwebs here after sitting for about, 45 minutes in that half inning. 3-0 pitch, catches the outside corner, 3-1.
And if you're PJ Never, what do you say to your team after that? After the last two innings that they've had?
It's tough. Got a couple more innings to play as the 3-1 pitch is missed upstairs. So you see Silvestri a little frustrated with himself on the mound, as you know he has a gargantuan lead. Just needs to throw strikes here, get outs.
And I wouldn't anticipate anybody in the bullpen warming up if you're a Bristol Blues fan, but Ronnie Palmer kind of entering the site of where we can see him in the dugout. Maybe you kind of questioning or asking, okay, who should I throw? And it looks like Peyton Stevens is going out, and he might be the one warming up. First time if he comes into this game that we've seen him here in 2018.
Pinch hitter here for Nashua. It's Alex Brickman who swings over an off-speed pitch. 1-1 the count. Brickman just 9 at-bats so far this season. 1 hit and 1 run scored for the sophomore out of the University of Dayton. One pitch. Misses in the dirt. 2-1. Silvestri here in his third inning of work. .37 pitches so far for the righty out of URI. 2-1. Misses in the dirt again. 3-1 quickly to Brickman. And you got to think as Silvestri is just trying to lay the ball in there, because really nothing can hurt the Blues at this point. They'll trade outs for runs at any cost.
If this is right, 6'3", 265.
It's a big fella.
Him and LaBelle could play offensive line.
3-1. Catches the corner. Count runs full to Brickman.
If you're Silvestri right here, just attack, 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 attack. You're up by, like you said, a gargantuan lead. There's no need to throw an uncompetitive pitch. Throw it in there. Let them hit it. You have a defense.
Just 1 error tonight for Bristol compared to 7 for Nashua. As Brickman swings and misses, but that ball skips into the Bristol Blue dugout. So a strikeout for Silvestri, but the ball gets away as Ronnie Palmer is going to come out and contest that. So because there were runners on first and second, Brickman could not advance on the wild pitch, so it will be an out. So Brickman down on strikes as the runners advance, second and third now with 1 out. The pitch to Ryan Berardino in there for a called strike 1.
And to think, AJ, there's still fireworks after this.
I don't know. I guess the fans, you got to give credit to the fans who are sticking it out here at Muzzy Field, as this one now creeping into almost at hour 3 of this ball game, but these fans sticking around. They want to see those fireworks, Chris.
You know who likes this more than the fans and the players?
Foul ball down the left field line. Who's that?
The firefighters getting time and a half. Longer this game goes,
Good point.
more cha-ching in the bank.
1-2 the count to the Nashua designated hitter. Swung on, grounded to the right side. Haig is there. He'll field and fire for the out, as Costello will score the 3rd run of the game for Nashua. But, of course, at this point, Bristol just trading the runs for outs 2 away here in the top of the 7th.
But at least you're seeing the at-bats for Nashua. They're not just throwing in the towel. They're at least trying to fight and get a way to be able to just chip away no matter how big the lead is. And I think you have to give credit to P.J. Neverett.
Another ground ball to the right side. It'll be Haig again. He fields and fires. Go ahead, Chris.
I think you got to give a lot of credit to P.J. Neverett, who has a couple titles under his belt. So I think, he's doing something right. But you don't want to be – it doesn't look good no matter what the score is if you end up just kind of giving up or just throwing in the towel. But right now we're going to have the 7th inning stretch right here at Muzzy Field.
Back here in the bottom of the 7th, Alex Leparco leading things off for Bristol. He'll face a new wing for Nashua, number 14, Manny Ray, making his 7th appearance of the season. Leparco takes strike 2, quickly 0-2 the count to the Blues' 3rd baseman. 0-2 pitch, off speed, swung on, hit weakly to 3rd, fielded, and that'll get by the first baseman. An error from Brescia, And Leparco will make his way to second. The 8th error for Nashua as Leparco leads things off, getting things going for Bristol.
I'm at a loss for words, AJ.
Yeah, well, I mean, the good thing about it, if you're a Nashua fan, is it's just one game. It doesn't carry over into tomorrow or the rest of the weekend.
The Blues do play Nashua tomorrow. So maybe they get tired from scoring all these runs and it ends up being a little bit less.
I mean, you got to think. Save a couple for the next game, but 17 runs, I believe that is a season high for Bristol so far. I believe their previous high was 13, so an offensive breakout for Bristol as Mark Tomosa steps to the plate for his second at bat. 1-1 pitch swung on and missed. Tomosa down in the count 1-2.
And Tomosa's still looking for his first hit as a Blue, and I know he's been struggling a little bit with a shoulder injury, but it'd be nice to see him be able to get a hit here and drive in a run.
Time is called as Ronnie Palmer picks up an errant throw from the Blues bullpen. So after a leadoff error from Brescia at third base, Leparco is on second. 1-2 pitch swung on and missed. Tomosa down on strikes for the first out of the inning. And that'll bring up now the center fielder, Rich Brereton, out of Emory. Brereton on the evening 0 for 3 with 2 walks. The pitch misses outside.
Manny Ray from Tufts University is a sophomore, Bedford, New Hampshire. Tufts plays in the same conference as Amherst as well as Trinity. They're in the NESCAC, which is a very good conference in D3.
The 1-0 pitch catches the outside corner, strike one. Ray with a 1-2 record in 7 games, a 3.76 ERA, 8 strikeouts to 5 walks in 14 1/3 inning. The 1-1 pitch swung on, fouled back, 1-2.
And he's throwing strikes. I mean, he's attacking the zone. He's not really missing by much. And if you take away the play by Brescia that allowed Leparco to get to second base, he hasn't really been – he's been around the zone, which is not easy to say for the last couple pitchers that have come out for Nashua.
1-2 pitch swung on and missed. Brereton down on strikes. So after the leadoff error, Ray has battled back here with back-to-back strikeouts, 2 away here. And that'll bring up Cooper Moroka, now playing first base for Bristol.
And that was a nice changeup, though, from Manny. And I think that, what makes that pitch that much more effective is that he's throwing from over the top, so you see it from the same tunnel with the fastball, but he has the exact arm speed of the fastball, and that allows him to be able to get that dipping action, late tumble at the bottom of the zone.
0-1 pitch swung on, ripped up the middle, but Morissette fields and fires, and that will do it here in the 7th. So the Blues strand Leparco at second, but they still lead 17-3 here as we roll on into the 8th. Here at Muzzy Field, the Blues in control of this one. Here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. We'll be right back, folks. Back here at Muzzy Field, AJ Fabry alongside Chris Saunders. Thank you for joining us here on a lovely Friday night, June 29th. Bristol Blues leading 17-3 over the Nashua Silver Knights. New pitcher in for Bristol. The normal right fielder, but making his third appearance on the mound, Peyton Stevens. And he deals a strike to the right fielder, Andrew Gorham.
Peyton Stevens has a live arm, but like any young pitcher, it's the fact of being able to have the control within the strike zone.
0-1 misses low, 1-1.
Peyton, a athletic right-hander, will throw from the over top to maybe a little bit below to high three-quarters, but his fastball does have some run, more so towards the arm side.
1-1 misses inside. Stevens with a 4.50 ERA in his 2 appearances this season. And we've seen he's made some amazing throws from right field, an absolute cannon. So see if that can translate to the mound as he gets Gorham to swing through that pitch.
And he kind of separates his hands from his glove, almost like Jose Barrios on the Twins, but doesn't have a long arm action. Very compact from the right fielder.
2-2 pitch, catches the outside corner. Gorham down looking as Stevens striking out the first batter he faces this evening.
Nice little two-seamer, outer half of the plate. Got Gorham looking, and you saw the swing before on a high fastball that could have been a ball, but instead chased it and didn't look very comfortable. So Peyton Stevens attacking with his fastball. You're up 17-3. No need to throw breaking stuff. Attack with the fastball. He's got plenty velo in the tank.
Tyler Littlefield, second baseman, takes ball 1. Some defensive substitutions made last inning that we didn't get to. Cooper Moroka now in at first. And Rich Brereton, he takes over in center as Jimmy Sullivan is now in at right. So Silvestri went 3 innings strong, gave up 2 runs, both of them earned on 2 hits, struck out 3 with 2 walks, and he was in relief of Sheehan, the starter. And if you can remember all the way back to that 4th inning, that was Sheehan's last. He went 4 strong, gave up 2 hits, just 1 run, but 7 walks. So not the prettiest of lines, but again, kept his team in position to win this game as Stevens now quickly ahead, or excuse me, evens the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And the new catcher, Dylan Jones, will be at the plate getting his first at-bat here at Muzzy Field this evening.
Stevens striking out Littlefield. So 2 batters faced and 2 Ks for the righty out of Central Connecticut State. And Chris, you said it, a live arm, and it seems like these Nashua hitters just cannot catch up to that fastball.
And this is an opportunity for the Blues right now to be able to see what do they have from their bullpen, because as we've talked about many times, either both on the air and even through just conversations in general, AJ, there are spots open. Justin Rouse is not a starting pitcher right now. He is in the bullpen. Hebner and Emmett Sheehan will get their chances to start. It's a matter of can they capitalize.
Chris, as you mentioned, Jones at the plate now. Came in for Joe Caparis behind the dish, getting his first at-bat of the night. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs here in the top of the 8th as Stevens fires ball outside. A couple of crooked numbers on the scoreboard for Bristol. They pushed across 1 in the first, followed by 5 in the third, 5 more in the 5th, and why not 6 more in the 7th as Jones lifts one into shallow right field. Haig giving chase, Sullivan coming in. He'll call him off and make the play for the final out. So Stevens coming in and retiring the side in order. A 1-2-3 inning for the righty as we roll on into the bottom half of the 8th. The Bristol Blues in control, 17-3 the score here over the Nashua Silver Knights. Keep it right here. We'll be right back on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. Back here at Muzzy Field, Jimmy Sullivan, the new right fielder, leading things off as he swings at the first pitch, fouling it back. Manny Ray still in for the Silver Knights. Ray, Nashua's 6th pitcher of the evening, so definitely not something you want to see if you're a Nashua fan, as Sullivan waves at the second pitch, 0-2, as he pokes that one into foul territory to stay alive.
And see, for a young player like Sullivan, these are critical at bats. I understand the score is 17-3, but he's been struggling this season. He has to take this very serious. And I like that he's fighting off pitches consistently. But what I've noticed from just watching some of the at-bats that he's had, he's a very straight-up guy, kind of like John Olerud a little bit back in the day with the Red Sox and the Mariners. And he has a little bit of a leg kick, and he's got to be able to time that fastball.
Grounded to the right side, fielded by Brickman, and he'll beat Sullivan to the bag for the first out. So Sullivan still struggling here early on, making the jump from high school competition into the college ranks, but a good job by Brickman there to field a chopper and able to beat Sullivan to the bag for the first out of the inning, and that'll bring up Ethan Hunt. He takes inside.
But you saw right there from Sullivan, and for people back home, visualize Sullivan with a high leg kick, but it stays in the air for about maybe 2.5 seconds, okay?
That one grounded to short. Morissette fields and fires for the second out of the inning.
But now picture Sullivan kind of bring up his leg quickly and then getting it down. Maybe that's not what he's going to have within the next couple days, but at least we're seeing an adjustment with Sullivan, and he's going to continue that and grow. I mean, we've talked about it. Emmett Sheehan, he's going to Boston College. Winkle's going to UConn. Sullivan's going to Virginia. These are all young kids. They're learning on the run against guys who are, 20, 21, 19 years old.
So certainly some great experiences. Bauman bounces one into left field. That'll get through for a base hit. Bauman is aboard with 2 away. Bauman's first hit of the evening. However, 2 walks on the night and 3 ribbies. That'll bring up Andrew Hagan. And Chris, just going off the leg kick, that might be something, the high leg kick that's normally used as a timing mechanism, maybe to generate some power, but it's hard for young players. But if you can adjust mid at bat, especially with 2 strikes, if you're just looking to get the wood on the ball, you can cut that leg kick down, and just to be quicker to the ball and kind of shorten your swing. That can be done with 2 strikes, as Haig grounds one foul down the third base line. But you talked about that in Sullivan. A young player has to make those adjustments, especially now facing kind of better pitching, and for a guy who's going to be competing in the ACC, some of the best pitchers in the country. 0-2 to Haig. He skies one into right field. Going to be a long run. And it'll drop foul. Gorham giving chase. But pulled up late. Could not get to that one. So Haig will live to fight another day here. 0-2 the count.
Well, prime example, look at what he's going to be facing in terms of North Carolina and some of those arms. You're talking about guys who could be top 3, top 5 round picks. I know one of the bullpen guys was throwing 98. He's a sophomore. You know Sullivan's probably going to see him.
0-2 swung up the middle to short. Morissette fields and tosses to Littlefield. And that'll do it. The third out of the 8th. So the Blues strand one. Not able to push any across, but Chris, I don't think they needed any, in my opinion. The Blues still ahead, 17-3 your score here at historic Muzzy Field. AJ Fabry alongside Chris Saunders here on the Bristol Blues YouTube channel. We'll be right back.
Top of the 9th, 17-7. Bristol Blues are 3 outs away from improving their record to 15-10. Nashua will drop to 9-14. And the Bristol Blues will be facing off against this said Nashua team tomorrow before returning home on a doubleheader against the Worcester Bravehearts. First game will be at 3:30. Next game will be 30 minutes with that or after. But before we can get to all that, Ian Osberg is on the mound. And he's going to be responsible for the final 3 outs and facing the top of the order. Biddison, Costello, Morissette, any of them get on Brickman. Dylan Reynolds is in left field, Hunt's at center, Sullivan still in right, and it'll be Brereton, who's played everywhere around the diamond, will be now at short.
Biddison going to be a freshman at Virginia Tech next year, as I was saying early. And he was voted the 2018 All-Metro Player of the Year by the Richmond Times-Dispatch. So Biddison, a Richmond kid, staying local, going to Virginia Tech for his college ball up in New Hampshire this summer.
Pitch was low, and that's going to be a leadoff walk for Nashua. Costello at the plate, 1 for 4 on the day. Osberg delivers a pitch inside, swung at and missed, 0-1. 17 runs on 10 hits for the Blues. Nashua 3 runs, 4 hits, and 8 errors, by far their worst game of the season. 0-1 to Costello. Breaking ball from Osberg. Drops it in. 0-2.
And, Chris, if I told you before this game tonight that the Bristol Blues and the Nashua Silver Knights would outlast the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees.
I would have thought you were lying.
Yeah. So pace of play, everybody talks about it. Rob Manfred, kind of the pioneer of changing the pace of play. But tonight, this pace crawling.
Nice breaking ball to Costello outside. 1 down. More set. Ground out to a double play in the 5th. Walked in the 7th. Struck out in the 1st. Flew out in the 3rd. 2 outs away are the Blues. Osberg dropping down to a little sidearm action. 0-1.
And this one certainly got out of control for Nashua, but going back when the game was still hanging in the balance, we talked about Sheehan. As more set skies 1 foul. We talked about Sheehan, and he struggled with his command. But Chris, what do you think? I mean, he really grinded his performance out tonight. Definitely didn't have his best stuff, and you could see he was a little bit frustrated with himself. But 7 walks, not something you want to see, but only allowing 2 hits and 1 run.
0-2 ripped up the middle for a base hit. Nashua will have runners on 1st and 2nd. Biddison on at 2nd. Morrison on 1st. But just going back to your question about Emmett Sheehan, AJ, it's hard to say because 7 walks, did not have a breaking ball, didn't really have a changeup. And if you only have a fastball, it's very hard to be able to go through a lineup once, maybe twice. Today was one of those options where it didn't really hurt him because he escaped damage with the bases loaded twice. But let's say you're going up against the Martha's Vineyard Sharks, they'll make you pay. Same thing with the Worcester Bravehearts as well. So you're teetering on the line there, and let's hope Emmett can learn from that, and if he gets another start, if Ronnie Palmer feels like he deserves one, let's see if he can at least try to command that breaking ball. 0-1 in the dirt. Bauman, nice job. 2, or rather 1-1.
And you really have to think about things going forward. The bottom half of this pitching staff, you got guys like Gennaro and Sosa at the top, and even a guy like Sosa has struggled. He really hasn't proved that he's a reliable starter that's going to go out and get you 5 clean innings every time. And so, I mean, everyone on the staff certainly has their flaws. So definitely some tough decisions for Coach Palmer and Jordy Shiner to make, because at this point it seems like everyone's had at least 1 good outing and 1 bad outing. So it's almost like a rotating door at this point, who's going to show up and who won't.
And the only reliable starter you can make a case has been Gennaro, who's had 2 really good starts, 1 bad one, as Osberg walks another batter. And that actually was a pinch hitter. It was number 37 for the Nashua Silver Knights. That will force Ryan Berardino at the plate with the bases loaded. First pitch swung at and fouled. 0-1.
I'll tell you what, Chris, I'll give a lot of credit to these Bristol Blues fans tonight. Been a long game. Lots of runs for Bristol, but they're sticking around for these fireworks, and they're going to get what they deserve after this one. So a good showing from their Bristol Blues and sticking around for the fireworks afterwards.
That was actually Brickman that worked a walk. My apologies. Morset was the one that singled up the middle. He's on at 2nd. Biddison at 3rd. Brickman at 1st. And a tough at bat from Berardino with Blandini. Actually, it's not even Blandini anymore, as there were many substitutions that happened with Nashua. Both my book and AJ's book are basically done for. 0-2 breaking ball down the middle. Umpire didn't pull the trigger.
That one just missed, and you can tell Osberg, a middle infielder at heart, but I think he could have gotten that call. What do you think, Chris?
1-2. Another foul ball again. And to me, it looked like it was right there. And in a game like this, you would think the umpire would kind of expand the strike zone a little bit. But then again, got to give him credit. He's staying within the constrictions of the zone. 1-2. Osper drops down. This could be a double play. Haig, Brereton, Gamaroka. 4-6-3. Double play. Ball game over. And the Bristol Blues improve to 15-10. Nashua drops to 9-14. Bristol Blues return home on Sunday for a doubleheader starting at 3:30 between the Worcester Bravehearts and your Bristol Blues. And AJ, I don't think there's any final words to say other than this was all Bristol Blues.
All Bristol, and you got to love the offensive performance, taking advantage of some Nashua mistakes, but some fireworks now here in Bristol as the Blues hit the road. We'll be back here on Sunday for a nice doubleheader if you care to join. Now, we're probably about like 4 or 5 more hours with us on air, so if you can tolerate it, you're more than welcome to stay. Special thanks to Huck Gallagher and Jack O'Donnell, the crew, the producer, and the cameraman. So huge ups to them for helping us out tonight. But the Blues taking care of business, 17-3 the final.
Once again, thank you everybody who was able to tune in. If it was late, early, we appreciate you staying on and watching the game. Now enjoy the fireworks, and we'll see you on Sunday. So for myself, Chris Saunders, for AJ Fabry, my color commentator, for Huck, doing the behind-the-scenes work, and Jack as well on the camera, enjoy the fireworks, and we'll see you again on Sunday. So long for Muzzy Field. Have a good one, everybody, and have a safe night.